While the world's attention was locked on the chaos in the Strait of Hormuz, a much bigger and more dangerous game was being played right in our backyard. Washington has made a move that should keep the Beijing awake all night. They are calling it the Malacca trap. Today, we decode why Donald Trump is setting his sights on the Indo-Pacific's most critical artery and how a single news report from India just destroyed all his plans. Hello all, welcome to ARK Reflections IAS. I am Yogiraj. To understand this story, you have to look at the map. See, look at the screen. These are the choke points in the world. Okay, so what exactly is a choke point? In simple terms, it's a narrow passage like a funnel. If you control the narrowest part of the funnel, you control everything that passes through it. In a conflict, if you plug this tunnel, the other side's economy simply starves. Washington has just realized that the Strait of Hormuz is too volatile, so they are moving the funnel control towards the east. This brings us to the most important choke point on the planet, the Strait of Malacca. It's a narrow 500-mile stretch of water. At its narrowest, it is just 3 km wide. For China, this is what they call as the Malacca dilemma. Now again, what is the Malacca dilemma? It is a term used by the Chinese leaders to describe their fear or their insecurity, that 80% of their oil imports pass through this tiny gap. If the US Navy blocks this strait, China runs out of fuel for its factories and for its military within just few weeks. It is China's Achilles heel, or you can say its biggest vulnerability. To solve this dilemma in their favor, the US has come up with a plan. The US just signed a massive defense pact with Indonesia. On the surface, it just looks like a standard partnership, military modernization and joint exercises. Washington is promising to upgrade Indonesia's military technology. But there was a hidden crown jewel in this deal that was meant to be the final piece of this puzzle. That crown jewel was the blanket overflight access. Blanket overflight access means that usually if a foreign fighter jet wants to fly over your country, they need to first file for a request and then wait for approval. Blanket access means that US could fly their surveillance planes and bombers over the Indonesian skies 24/7 without asking for permission. This could give the US total unblinking eyes over the Chinese ship entering through the Malacca Strait. It would have turned the Indian Ocean into America's own backyard lake. But then came the twist. The deal was almost done until a report from India changed everything. Here comes the journalist from India. An Indian journalist, Abhinandan Mishra, published a leak in the Sunday Guardian. He revealed the secret overflight clause in the deal that were about to be signed. The moment the news hit Jakarta, there was a massive outcry. The Indonesian public saw this as a harm to their own sovereignty. Under pressure, the Indonesian pro-USA government had to back down. They signed the pact, but they refused the overflight access to the USA. Trump's perfect plan was entirely spoiled by a single leak. Okay, but why does it matter so much? Just look at the numbers. Over 94,000 ships pass through the Strait of Malacca every year. That is nearly 40% of the world's total trade. It isn't just oil, it's also the electronics, the grains, and the very components that run your smartphone. If this strait is militarized or blocked, the global economy just doesn't slow down, it crashes. We are already seeing the disturbance that Strait of Hormuz has done to the world. As you can see in this chart, China is actually desperately dependent on this route. Over 80% of their energy comes through this gap. They have tried building pipelines through Russia and Pakistan, but these are expensive and very slow. For now, Malacca is the only way, and the Washington knows this very, very well. And this is where India enters the frame. See, look at our Andaman and Nicobar Islands. They sit right at the mouth of the strait. India is the natural gatekeeper. We are the only ones who can truly monitor this region without needing a 24/7 overflight deal. The USA needs India, but India is cautious because of its bitter experiences in the past. As India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said in the recent Raisina dialogue, India's rise is unstoppable, but the strategic realities of Indian Ocean are changing. India does not want a maritime hegemon. They don't want anyone in our backyard dictating us what to do and what not to do. India wants a multipolar Asia where no single country, not the USA, not the China, controls the world's lifelines. Okay, so let's summarize. See, this is the timeline. From the disaster in Hormuz to the secret deal in Jakarta and the Indian leak that stalled it. It's clear that the USA is moving its paces across the chessboard. China is reacting and Indonesia is trying to remain neutral. The Malacca trap hasn't just been set up yet. But as you know, the time for it is not very far away. The question is, as the world's power fight for control over these narrow waters, where does that leave the rest of us? What about our energy security? What about our sovereignty? Think about it and tell me your views in the comments below. This is Yogiraj. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.